Contingencies. It's so scary. I don't want to accept this offer that the buyer has a contingency. That is what I hear from sellers all the time. And today I'm going to talk about the pros and the benefits as well as the cons of contingencies when you're selling your home. Hi, I'm Jen Wehner, team leader of the Wehner Group, brokered by eXp Realty. Let's dive in. So let's start off with the bad news. What's bad about contingencies? Well, it's probably the fear and the uncertainty that you already know of. We don't know if something could happen. Could the sale of the buyer's home fall through? It absolutely can. Just like the financing can fall through because the buyer lost their job while their home is in escrow. There's so many different things that can happen in an escrow. A contingency is just one extra thing that could go wrong. And if a buyer does have to sell their home in order to buy yours and their sale does fall through, yes, that is the number one and the scariest thing about a contingency. So that's all I have for the cons. Now I'm going to share the fun stuff, the good news, and the bright side of contingencies. So first and foremost, and the most important, is these buyers are more committed because they have to move. If they're 2 weeks into their inspection period and maybe there's repairs or maybe appraisal comes in a little low and they're 2 weeks away from the close of escrow date, they have to move because they have a contract on their house. They have to go somewhere. So they either have to find short-term housing, they either have to negotiate the buyers to delay the closing on their house, which sometimes is impossible. It's really difficult for them to make that move. It's easier for them to just stay with you in the process. And I have found that contingent buyers have been so much easier to work with in the inspections, in the appraisal, all the way through into the final walkthrough. Not all, right? There's an exception to every rule, but we have worked with at least 30 or 40 contingencies this year, and it's been a very common theme that they're just more committed and easier to work with. Another thing on that same topic of being committed, what we're seeing with COVID right now is the fallout rate is significantly higher. And because inventory is so low, buyers are just throwing out offers to see what sticks. And maybe in the inspection period, another home came on the market and they're going to go grab that one instead. So we're not finding that with the contingent buyers as much because they're committed, they're sticking with you, and they're not just throwing stuff out to see what sticks. First off, let's explain the different kinds of contingencies. The weakest contingency is when a buyer makes an offer on your home and their home isn't even listed. Hopefully the home's here and at least I can comp it. But if the home's in another market, I don't know what the other market's doing and how long it's going to sell. But that's the weakest form of contingency. Simply, we don't know when that home is going to sell. The second form of a contingency is when their home is already under contract. And once their home is under contract, we know what the date is. But even deeper than that, we want to know where they're at in the process. Did they get past the inspection period? Did they get past appraisals? Who's the buyer? Are they paying cash? How firm is the contract that they have in place? So with those two contingencies, that is important to know before you accept the offer. Now, there are important things that you're going to want to consider, and there's also important things that you're going to want to do with a contingent buyer. So first, before accepting the offer, look at the contingency, get the full story. And even when I explained earlier the weakest contingency, the buyer that didn't have their home listed, if you actually get the pictures of the home, the address of the home, as long as it's here in Phoenix, and see what the listing agent's going to price it at, see when it's going to hit the market, and get those firm dates in writing, you can actually still accept that offer as long as that everything's going to look like it's going to work out right. So let me explain. Let me tell you a story. We just closed on a house this week. The buyer fell in love with this house. They were selling their house, but they did not want to put their house on the market because with inventory so low, they were scared, yeah, I could sell my house, but I'm going to be homeless unless I find a house. But I got the pictures of the home. I know the area very well. I comped it. I was like, we probably already have the buyer for their house. I'm like, that house is going to sell in a weekend. So I told my sellers this. Of course, I'm not a psychic. I don't know if it can work, but I told my seller this. They trusted me. We did put some contingencies into a counteroffer to protect them. But guess what? The home sold over the weekend, and they were the easiest buyers to work with. We closed. Everybody's been super happy. So they can work. So what you're going to want to do is get the full scope of the buyer, of their house. If their home is under contract, see, do they get past inspections, appraisals? If their home's under contract and they're not past appraisal, go comp their house for them. Ask the agent that is representing the sale of their house, do you do appraisal packages? If not, I can help you. But make sure that on their end that they're operating right so you have more certainty that it's actually going to close. After you go under contract, you've done all your homework, now you're under contract, the additional things that you're going to want to get is regular updates from both the buyer's lender and the buyer's agent that is selling their home. How's everything going on their escrow? How's everything going with the buyer's loan? And getting those at least twice a week so that you know that progress is getting made every week. And finally, if for some reason the contingency can't close or maybe it gets delayed, there are still solutions around it. I know we work with a lender that has a bridge loan option. So maybe it's just a short term, but at least if you have some solutions in your back pocket for if something does go wrong, be able to have that ammunition ready if that problem does arise. So again, imperative you're working with a solid listing agent that knows their game, that has the experience, and they're really good problem solvers. So hope you found this video valuable. If you're looking to sell your home, please reach out to us. We would be honored, even if it's just a conversation. Would love to have that with you. And if you would please, please, please like, comment, subscribe. I really appreciate it, and I promise to deliver more and more value. Catch you on the next one.